We're digging deeper into the David case, and there's some really interesting posts going around with people basically saying that they actually spotted David and Celeste together. We're hearing responses from some of David's friends talking about the situation with his arrest, and we're now seeing some very interesting new theories about when maybe Celeste was cut up. It is very, very sad and depraved, the situation, but a lot of people are sharing theories about when the dismemberment might have actually happened, and also some of David's kind of creepy posts that he made around the time, not of the murder, which we discussed in previous videos, but when the body was actually cut up. So I want to show you some of that in this video, and you're going to understand just how deep this rabbit hole gets and just how much betrayal evidence David left behind for him and his family and his friends. So the first post that I want to show you is this one. They're saying another witness apparently saw David and Celeste together in April 2024, and that was the first time that she originally went missing in February of 2024, I believe, on Valentine's Day, and I believe again in April 2024, and the rumor was she was with David, and people are saying that they actually saw them together, and they said Celeste appeared to be in an altered state. Maybe she was drugged up, maybe she was high, maybe that's going to work for the overdose theory, but doesn't matter. No, we're not diminishing any accountability for David in this situation. Doesn't matter if the girl was drunk, on drugs, whatever. You're an adult. You should not have been allowing that. You should not have been letting that happen. It's just crazy.
A body was recently found dismembered in a Tesla belonging to David, a popular singer. Today, the body was identified as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Right when the picture went public of Celeste, I instantly recognized her from 2024 in April when her and David came together to a jewelry shop I used to work at. I remember this moment so vividly because when they came in, there was something off about Celeste. She was very high, and she was with David, who I recognize because he's a popular singer, but she was very obviously younger than him, and she was very out of it. I was helping her out with jewelry, and she was all over the place. So that situation really stuck in my brain, and I really remembered her face. So when her picture was released to the public, I instantly recognized her as the girl that was with David. And the fact that she was found in his trunk, dismembered, is just unbelievably sad and horrific. And my heart just goes out to the family and her friends and everybody who's affected by her death. But there is a lot of questions around this and a lot of unanswered questions. So please find answers.
So he's saying that he saw David and Celeste in a jewelry shop. She was high as hell, all over the place, as he said. I think that's really interesting. And yeah, people are giving their thoughts. It says, if the guy in the jewelry store is telling the truth, he should go back to his workplace and get surveillance. That's probably not going to happen. It's a long time ago. It says that this has been mentioned and discussed plenty of times. Hopefully the DA gets footage of this. Saying it does most likely doesn't do much because it's April 2025. She was killed, but not in 2024. But it shows that she was drugged up with him. Now, one of David's most annoying friends, who we've discussed many times on this channel, Asia Collins, she actually made a post today that David was arrested and posted, "Shit is sickening." I don't know if she's saying that it's sickening that he got arrested. Her homeboy is now in cuffs. Her homeboy that she had not quite fully distanced herself from is now in cuffs. But she is giving her thoughts. People aren't feeling it. It says, have you seen the IG comments? They're roasting her alive. Deserved, in my opinion. I don't think she was involved, but her attitude has been nasty this whole time, as if she is the victim. They're saying she did know of Celeste's age in 2024, yet turned a blind eye. David took her and Neo as groupies on tour because they're low IQ, let's be honest. They were willing to look the other way. People are having a hard time to believe that none of them are involved. They're all sick. They probably got a crazy immunity deal for the grand jury because they weren't talking originally. They get testimony from them, then provide conversations leading up. Hopefully they found the knife. We'll find out in a week. Also, I believe they wanted the star. Maybe she asked about it and was lied to. I think that's what she said in her Reddit comments. Said someone who was being groomed possibly told her a lie. We literally don't know what happened. Don't forget, why was she even around these people? That's true. She lied on the sub and said she didn't know how old Celeste was and she only met her once at first. But then she said she never met her. She talked herself in circles when she did that Reddit Q&A. It was crazy. Go back and watch my video on that if you want to know more. She did a Q&A on Reddit. I do have a video about that in the archives. So seriously, she's been talking about the case and defending herself, but never Celeste. Even though she claims she wants justice for her, she's never genuinely shown remorse from Celeste. Exactly. Even fucking Neo's response was better, though I'm sure his lawyer wrote it that his mommy hired for him. Asia will lose any work that she could have ever gotten over this. She's nasty and this will follow her forever. Exactly. I feel like Asia didn't like Celeste because maybe one, she had feelings for David, or two, wanted fame and it went down the drain because David was the one providing that. Crazy. Right? The saying, I think it was the latter. I never got the feeling Asia had feelings for David. She was just fame hungry and using him to clout chase. So I doubt she liked Celeste because wherever David brought her around, it was just a reminder that her life she was enjoying was thanks to him and it could all be gone in a second. Her name and face would always be associated with that creep. It will follow her because she can't stop associating herself with it. I've said it before, but Celeste Herrera was smart. She completely removed herself from the situation, didn't post anything antagonistic. If you Google Asia, all she will be is, besides post about David, her snide remarks about that girl will always be there. She doesn't realize it yet because clearly she can't stop. But one day she'll regret needing to be chronically online during all of this. I know she's young and thinks social media is everything, but it really wouldn't have been that hard to just delete TikTok and Instagram for 7 months to spare her ruined future. To some degree, I do feel sorry for her being so clueless how much damage she did herself during this with just her online presence. Then the additional factor, I think she is being wrongfully accused to show some degree plus the misogyny, but she did also know Celeste was a minor and just turned the other way. So when she's older, she's going to regret the way she handled every step of this, especially if/when she's a mother herself and can view it from that lens. She knew Celeste's age. All of the David's posse deserve it. Sick chomos, right? So there's a whole thread, self-incrimination 101. Go read this. If you want, go watch the video I did. I read all the comments. I read all of her comments. There's loads. There's 100, 500 comments. Probably more there now. It says, didn't she say, oh, I met Celeste for 5 minutes, then retracted that statement and said I never knew her? Seems like she has something hidden too. This girl is a fucking dumbass. Asia, your 5 minutes of fame are up. Your social media life is over. No one cares to look at your dumbass shit of post of you thinking you're still an influencer. Keep living that fake life. You'll never achieve dumbass. I'm going to give Asia some advice. Asia, if you're watching this, you probably are. The best thing you could do, because you're already associated with this thing, I don't know if you're capable of it, but the best thing you could do is actually completely denounce David and tell the world everything that you know about him and testify against him. All right? This isn't the Gucci Mane. This isn't no gang drill case. You testifying against David, helping doing your part to put David away will make you a hero. Same thing for Neo. Anyone around David, if we get to the trial and any of you clowns that was in his circle that defended him got associated with him, if you guys take the stand, this ain't no gang drill. No one's calling you a snitch. You're going to be a hero. So I would implore anybody that was close to David to turn on him, testify against him, or at least speak out publicly against him extensively. If Asia came out, maybe it's too late, maybe it's not. But if she came out completely, ultimately disavowing David, she could start making daily videos like me on the case and just saying, I am disavowing this creep and I'm going to testify against him. She could pop off. She could have motion. If she really wants to, if she wants to just chase the clout, the best way to chase the clout would be to put David away and be the Celeste Avenger. Take it or leave it, okay? It says, this is a performative-ass post knowing everyone is watching her and waiting for her to acknowledge it. Girl, just shut the fuck up. Everything she does is selfish and performative. She acts like someone else dying that she knew is an inconvenient bother. To her and her life, it's concerning how consistently she lacks any and all empathy and basic human decency. She needs to get offline and start working with the prosecutors if she wants to clear her name so bad. Facts. Enough of all these social media posts. Go and do something that actually helps. This bitch knew something. I'm not buying the clueless act she's putting on. There's no way she wasn't aware of anything. I feel like she, like some other girls and women, went through being used and abused by boys and men to fool themselves into thinking it's a rite of passage. Their body is their power. May as well use it for something. So then they tell themselves it doesn't bother them. They got theirs and then pass this attitude off as judgment and instruction to younger girls. Then again, I feel like she's too ignorant to ever say, oops, I made a mistake. This ain't right. Instead, chose to double down and more so didn't want to give up any chance of money and connection and the coattails she was riding on. Crazy. So not just David's friends, but also his family, some Redditors have uncovered some interesting links between David's dad and the criminal defense team. Now, we've dug into David's dad, Dawood Burke, before, but this is really interesting. It says, Dawood Burke joins criminal defense law firm deeply connected to Blair Burke 6 weeks before arrest, Article 14. So it's saying that he works as a litigation support manager for Troutman Pepper Locke up to March 2026. So it says he's a senior litigation support manager starting March 2026 for Brown Rudnick Limited Liability Practice, a law firm. So it seems like he left Troutman Pepper and became a senior litigation support manager for Brown Rudnick LLP. Now they're saying Brown Rudnick LLP has got connections to all of these people in these cases, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. Okay, there's the connections. And a lot of people think that, you know, there's a little bit, I think there could be a conflict of interest here. Now, there's a lot of stuff here. Shall I read it all? Should we run it? Let's run it. let's get TLDR. Let's do the TLDR because I don't know about all of that. It says TLDR, 6 weeks before David's arrest, right around the time of the subpoenas for grand jury in David's family, David's father, Dawood Burke, switched from a general law firm to a criminal defense law firm known for representing celebrities. The law firm has deep connections to David's current PR lawyer, Blair Burke. Brown Rutnick have worked alongside each other on Johnny Depp Amber Heard case for Johnny Depp since 2016. Could be a conflict of interest, maybe. It says Dawood has 2 sons to save, David and Caleb. I think what his family is doing is pretty much everything against that is preached in their religion. It's going to be a bit hard. Exactly, they're setting up the rest of the family for failure in the future. Standing by a PDF murderer is reprehensible to everyone everywhere. Why aren't they thinking about the future of their other kids who didn't commit a heinous crime? I really hope there's no connection. This makes me sad for poor Celeste. Fuck the Burks. Facts. Can he avoid being forced to testify against his adult son if he's a lawyer and has privilege? Ding, ding, ding. I would be shocked if he didn't use either this or perhaps the confidentiality as a pastor minister type role to avoid testifying. Blair Burke represented a guy who was caught on To Catch a Predator. His name was Maurice Wolin, and he was a cancer research doc. Crazy. She represented Harvey Weinstein too. It says they're connected. Harvey from TMZ is connected to Blair. Blair's connected to Weinstein. Weinstein connected to Epstein. David's dad's connected to Epstein work. Do we need to see any more, allegedly? I'm sorry, but this is fishy as F to me. Like, I guess not actually Blair Burke's firm, so technically not a conflict of interest, but maybe it's related to all the appeals they've been filing so they don't have to testify. Is this in Houston? Are there really so few law firms there? The firm has many locations, even international firms, and they have a location in California. But there are many firms in Houston. This location of Brown Rutnick is a smaller, newer firm. They opened in 24. Dawood is in a position to have informed conversation about prove that evidence in ways that will be very difficult to detect or prove improper. Anyway, let's move on. So one Redditor has discovered an interesting old news clip that actually they think points to Celeste being dismembered elsewhere. So it says this Celeste body was not moved to Santa Barbara, nor was it dismembered there. So this is from the news strip. Listen.
So says detectives have no evidence Rivas's body was taken to Santa Barbara County for dismemberment.
Disappointing to me because all of this misinformation that's being put out there, it just creates additional work for my investigators that they have to do in order to get to the truth of the matter.
Here's LAPD robbery homicide captain Scott Williams.
The most recent TMZ articles they're very disappointing. They're reporting that Celeste's body was frozen when it was discovered is untrue. Celeste was not decapitated.
Williams says also false. Reports the singer was dismembering Celeste's body during a trip to a remote part of Santa Barbara County last spring.
So that's really interesting because it's the LAPD are actually calling out TMZ saying she wasn't dismembered, so she didn't have her head cut off, even though she was separated into 2 bags. And they're basically saying this mysterious trip to Santa Barbara wasn't dismemberment. There's no proof that they took her anywhere for desecrating the corpse, basically. And it says TMZ was the first to report David took this mysterious trip to Santa Barbara. They said that this trip was a way for David to dispose of her. But LAPD investigators have said they have they have evidence David traveled somewhere, but they haven't concluded any relevancy of that trip. So people have been speculating what that trip was all about. It came from TMZ, and basically everyone was looking for proof of this. But basically there's no evidence the LAPD said they took her to Santa Barbara or did anything with her. There's no evidence that the body was taken there. So it says, I for one believe he was carrying her around in this area to look for a holding spot to dispose of her, but I'll trust the captain's words more than TMZ. It'll be interesting to see what the purpose of this trip is, but it's just a red herring from TMZ, potentially. People saying, I think the trip is important, but there was no Santa Barbara trip. Everyone's saying it was Mildred Falls, but Steve debunked that theory recently on an interview too. He said they took the trip into the mountains to a national park. That was the evening of the last picture of Celeste. I have my own theory, waiting to see if I'm right. Okay. People saying, I don't think TMZ is 100% wrong. They run sensational headlines and incomplete info to get views. Rhetoric is important here. Folks are not saying Santa Barbara because like folks are saying not technically Santa Barbara and she wasn't decapitated or found frozen. I think the investigators had strategic reasons when they put that info out there. As we know, they never interviewed David. The DA doesn't want David's legal counsel to know what they have on him. They're upset with the TMZ leaks. And apparently Lauren Conlin and the DA is trying to find out who is the mole in the DA's office giving info to TMZ. I think the police were trying to see if David would say or do something stupid or if anyone would correct the false information. Also to keep adding to his Itami myth-making BS. Purely speculation, but I think David wants the attention and has probably been inserting himself into online threads. Dude is going to love receiving letters from admirers in prison. Okay, it's crazy. I'm sure he hid weapons there in Santa Barbara and kept her hidden in his Tesla. I will go to the grave saying they disposed of incriminating evidence or tools there, but that's a long shot idea of this mysterious trip. Easy to burn bloody clothes and throw things in the water. However, salt water doesn't degrade DNA like someone would think. And sometimes you can even track things down based on currents and estimated locations. I don't think she was dismembered or killed or anything in Santa Barbara personally, but it's speculation on what the trip was because I really don't know unless it's already drained prior. There would be far more blood had they been trying to dismember her or transport her doing so. Okay. So it says, to clarify the confusion, he's saying she wasn't decapitated, which means head removed. She was not decapitated, not dismembered. The legs and arms were severed from the head and torso. They're saying, I'm starting to think David slipped something in her drink to make it look like an accidental overdose. But then we're hearing about these sharp instruments. So the last thing I want to show you, this is apparently David's story on Instagram the day after the alleged dismemberment on May the 5th. Right? This is super creepy. It says David's IG story right after the mutilation. And he's saying, oh my God, chat, should I get these Hello Kitty skateboards? Weird. Right? That's when it was. People saying the Hello Kitty obsession is so unnerving. He tried so hard to appeal to young girls. I think Celeste also liked Hello Kitties. He's a monster and deserves everything coming to him. Now, I think Hello Kitty's cool, but definitely something weird was going on with David and his obsession. So it says, how was he not literally bugging the F out in public after all of this shit? I mean, I've never effing murdered and dismembered somebody, so I wouldn't know. But I feel like you wouldn't be able to fucking perform in normal society. It says you'd be surprised how many people are seemingly normal after murdering someone. They go on just to eat a meal, go to work, take care of their lawn. It's kind of scary. People saying it's not abnormal actually to carry on as normal. It's your body's protection mechanism and your brain disassociating. It says he made her cute, childish character obsession his own, probably to lure in other teens. This was Celeste's thing, and he made it his cute shtick, probably because jerking off to gore doesn't bring the teen girl crush. That is crazy. If this dude wasn't caught, he would have become a serial killer. Hopefully there aren't more victims we were unaware of. His brain needs to be studied. Catch me up to speed. Anyway, we get the gist. Okay, so look, everybody's trying to get to the bottom of this thing. I think there's a few interesting new things that come out. I just recorded a video on new victims that are apparently coming out, but that video is being flagged by YouTube, so I wasn't able to upload it. So when you see another video from me later, hopefully you're going to hear me in that video saying I'm about to make this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I will have another video out soon. I'm going to do a video on the UFO update. But if I hear anything more about David, there's going to be big updates tomorrow when we have court. So I'll keep you guys posted. And yeah, we're going to get to the bottom of this, okay? And justice is definitely coming.